I'm going to ask you some tough questions, and maybe I don't have the answers, okay? But I want you to think. Should Zambians and Africans have the same complete service as North America? Okay? I'm just going to ask the questions. I'm not going to give any answers. You guys will. Okay? But I think whoever said that answer, I think you're okay. I'm with you on that. Should. Now, don't be upset. I'm going to ask for forgiveness from now from your graces and fathers. Should the instruments be the same? Like, should we, because we play the cymbals and triangles, should we insist that will be all over the world? I don't know. But some places in Africa, they use drums. I don't know. What I'm saying is, we're not affecting the faith. And this is the most important thing. We mix culture with faith. Now, I love the cymbals and triangle. I love a lot of things. But I'm saying if I'm a missionary, and I want to do evangelism, and you're a missionary, and you want to do evangelism, we need to have these conversations. We need to stop being quiet. We need to have forums and discussions and these conferences to open up these conversations. What should it be? How can we be? What should we do? Okay? I heard, maybe I'm wrong, in one of the churches in North America who serves the poor, they do a condensed liturgy, 1 hour. It's for the poor. Like, it's one of the churches in North America that do church just for the poor of America. I think that's great. I think that they figured out how to contextualize and reach the people. And I'm sure bishops have agreed to that. So I love that. Look, here's the thing. We as an Orthodox church, a Coptic Orthodox church, need to sit down more together and discuss these things. And not be offended. If someone has ideas, open the door. Let's discuss it. Let's hear from each other. Bishops and priests and servants should be sitting together discussing these things. We can't have things just happening on its own. We should talk about it together. If we want to reach the people in North America and the rest of the world, the global mission, the global city, we're going to have to figure out how to do this. St. Paul figured it out early. We need to work on that. Should Muslims be told about Christ and the Trinity in our way or a way that can meet them? We have to think about how to reach other religions. We need to figure out how to reach other denominations if they're confused about something. These three things we need to figure out. There's three ways we can go about adapting to the culture. One, isolation, right? Isolation. That means the church, our Coptic church, is isolated from everything outside. And we have no idea what's happening out there. We're just isolated. So no, we need to protect ourselves. This is one way to be living in a culture. There's a second way, domination. Domination is what? Is the church is lashing out against culture in that area. We're saying the church, the world is like that, and the government is doing that, and we're lashing out, and we're criticizing and we're judging. Number three is incarnational, which is probably the method that we need to get to, which is that we plant ourselves in the community. We try to do whatever it takes to learn the culture, to be like them, and to save some without being affected. And we're going to talk about that more. These are kind of three main ways. Isolation, domination, saying, oh, this is rubbish outside, this is trash, this is foolish. And we judge and we criticize. I'm going to talk about that again. And incarnation, which we plant ourselves. Like we have the American Orthodox churches. I saw some of the fathers and some of the servants. You're planting yourselves in Orlando and Miami and where else is there? I know Atlanta, Father Nathaniel, and there's so many churches. Like, which one of these methods will win the people? Isolate, go ahead. You're by yourself. That's fine. That will not win anyone. Domination, the people outside who come into the church will feel judged and criticized as soon as they enter our church. And incarnation, we're there to do what Christ did. He was incarnate. We need to incarnate ourselves into the community. Let me say it another way. If we remember the story of fishers of men in Luke 5 or Matthew 4, the churches who isolate themselves from the culture, they're not fishing at all. The churches that are doing domination, lashing out, are fishing with dynamite, blowing up the people around them. And of course, the last one, the incarnational, is you're using the right bait and tackle to fish for the fishers of men, right? You're fishers of men. I don't know. I'm just praying here. I just want to stop and say, we need to pray. Where are we in this? Are we isolating? Are we dominating? Or we are incarnating ourselves? We need to pray with over 2 billion people still needing to know about God. From Asia to Africa to North America to Europe. From young troubled teenagers to young professionals. How many people that you probably know are disconnected from God? I know so many. How many people in our churches are disconnected from the church and from God? Many. How many people in the world, when you see them and what they're doing, how many are disconnected? If we don't preserve our faith, celebrate the cultures, and adapt to the host culture, we're going to lose many more. Sorry to say that. We're going to lose many more. When our children grow up, we might lose them. We need to learn and learn fast. Here's a better explanation. Isolation takes place when the church is so far removed from culture that it can no longer communicate the good news in effective ways. Domination occurs as the church lashes out harshly, right? As the evil aspects of the culture, and incarnation is the best approach, which is making disciples and being fishers of men. Now here's a question you're probably asking yourself, right? This is probably a really important question for most of us who are worried about what I'm just saying. You're worried about, okay, Abuna, you said this, we're moving into the place with the culture. How to adapt to the host culture without losing your morals. The culture here in North America is changing so fast for the worst. It's going fast. Okay, like I said, I've been away for 12 years, but every time I come, I said you can see a drastic difference. You know when you see a child grow, but you only see them once a year, right? When you see them once a year, like last year I saw them like this year I saw them like that, and then that's how I feel when I come back to North America. I just feel like it's getting out of control. As it's changing so fast, we have to be ready for that. Not be afraid of it, but just be ready for it. Okay? You know, Christianity now in North America is falling down completely. Society is becoming very secular, right? It's like, some people call it post-Christian, so it's no longer Christian. What do we do in this kind of society? How do we deal with it? Here's a question that we need to ask ourselves. How do we impact the society without being impacted? That's what it's saying here. How do we impact without being impacted? How do we help our children to be living in the society without being hurt by it? So let me go through. If you want to be able to do that, number one, here, I'm going to give you 5 ways, and some of them are wrong ways. Okay? So at the end of each way, it might be, okay, Abuna, that way is wrong. So one way we can do it, okay, is we can just be oblivious to the host culture. What does that mean? It means the Coptic Church can be in a suit, or in Nairobi, or in Alexandria, or here in Titusville, or in Zambia, wherever. And it can be the same exact everything. You can't tell the difference. If you walk into a church in Nairobi, or Titusville, or Upper Egypt, if it looks the same, we have a problem. Okay? But I say, well, it's the same liturgy. If it looks the same, we have a problem. Yes, we have the same liturgy, but it should be different language. The sermons should be different. Like in Zambia, if you talk like this, if the monotonous tone in Zambia, everyone will be dead asleep. You have to kind of like, hey, and you have to wake them up and repeat the same thing over and over again. So, like, I have to know. I can be oblivious and say, no, it's going to be like that. In every place we go, we're going to plant our church the same way. That's one way, but that's a fail. Okay? That's a fail. Oblivious means actually you don't even know what's going on around you. It's a bit different. Like you don't know what's happening around you and you're kind of living in a bubble. And some of our churches are doing that. Number 2 is you can hide. That's different than being oblivious. Oblivious, you have no idea. Number 2, you know what's out there and you're what? Hey guys, let's just make sure those are bad people. And we have to hide here in our church. Okay? I understand that. But I don't think God ever wanted us to be scared. We need to be ready so we can impact the people around us in our communities. Not be afraid of them. Not hide from them. No one in history ever were hiding from the society around them. Like someone was telling me that we should get off Facebook, get off YouTube, and get on Faithbook and GodTube. I said, okay, that's great. I think it's important to be on GodTube and Facebook, and it's probably a smart thing to do. I think it's smart to protect yourself, but not to hide. There's a difference, right? Okay, we can't hide from the community. We have to be able to adapt, to live, to do what St. Paul did in 1 Corinthians 9. I became weak so I can save the weak. I can become a Jew to win the Jew. I have to become like them. I have to communicate with them. I can't just hide from them. If you're hiding from everybody, then we'll never win anybody. So I think being oblivious, where I don't know anything, hiding, I think those are not the way. 3, which most of us probably get into a habit of doing, which is criticizing. To be honest with you, I've done this many times. I said, I can't believe the government did that. I can't believe they just passed that law. I can't believe. But I was thinking about something that I want to share with you. Is if we continue to criticize everything around us, how can we love the people around us? We're too busy judging and criticizing. Can't win anybody. When we see them, automatically, you may not admit this, automatically we're judging everybody around us. But I don't think that's going to win. So I think this is a fail also. Let's go to number 4. Let's see. So these 3 are fails. 4 and 5 are the ways we need to go. Embrace people and offer an alternative. We have to embrace the people in the culture. Build relationships with people. Build bridges with the people in the culture. And offer them a better way. Our church has the better way. Why should we hide from people if we have the answer? We should embrace, love, build bridges, and offer a better way. We have the better way. What are we hiding from? You have the cure. Why not give it to somebody? Believe it or not, in Africa, when I teach people about the prayer book of the Igbeya, or confession, or what the meaning of communion, they love it more than we do. You know, I find that the fathers and the servants, they love the liturgies and they love the prayer books and they're excited. One father said, I used to hate tasbih, but when we learned it and learned it, it's so beautiful. We love it. It makes me praise like I'm in heaven. I love to see that because like we have so many beautiful things. You know, we should embrace others and give them alternatives. Like, you know, for example, I'll give you like the way our church is very clear and conservative about, you know, premarital relations. We have a better way. Why should we be sacred before marriage? Why should we? And I think that the environment now, that's impossible, right? If you ask someone to wait before marriage, it's impossible to see in our communities these days. And believe it or not, our church young youth are jumping on board for that. But we have a better way. If we, look, here's the thing, and I want you to be clear about this. If we hide, or we're oblivious, or we judge, our children, our brothers and sisters, will run to those options. But if we embrace and give a better way, then our children, our brothers and sisters, will learn there's a better way. They can see that their church is not hiding, but running to it and facing it and dealing with it and working through it. When they see that, they'll know that we have the better way. But if they see us running and hiding and being oblivious or always criticizing, they may be running, we might be pushing them towards that same place we want to protect our church and our members. Okay, let's go to the last one. Now, embracing people and offer an alternative. Now, this is the ultimate one. Use the culture to reach culture. That's where we need to get to. Use the culture to reach culture. This is the ultimate bridge to reaching and saving people and serving people. This means it's not changing what we say, but how we say it. Not changing what we believe, but the way we express what we believe. Example. You probably heard all your life, less social media. What I would say is use more social media. Use culture to reach culture, but use it in a way to win people, right? Use social media. Everyone says, no, be off social media, be off social media. I actually say the opposite. I'm not even on social media, by the way. I don't have Facebook, but learning and preparing, I realized something, that the ultimate is using culture to reach culture. Meaning, like, if the culture is that everyone is on social media, use that avenue. So find a way within the culture to make an impact. Use the same culture that you wanted to repel against, and you wanted to criticize against, and you wanted to hide from, and you wanted to say, I don't know anything about it. When we do 1, 2, and 3, we'll never use the same culture that we're adapting to reach the people in that culture. That's evangelism. That's mission. If we're always hiding and oblivious, I don't know anything, and I criticize that, if we're always doing that, we're never going to reach anybody. We can just leave it as just a nice conference. We did thank you for coming, and glory be to God, and go home and do nothing. We have to be able to do number 4 and 5. We have to embrace and build bridges and build relationships so we can have we can give them the alternative. But not to be so strict, saying it has to be like this right now. We have to look from their eyes. We have to contextualize. We have to know what they're seeing. You're seeing something, they're seeing something different. Use the culture to reach culture. There's so many examples I'm sure you can come up with. But this is the ultimate. Number 5 is the ultimate way to reach and to serve. Fail, 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 pass, ultimate. Those are just 5 small examples of how to adapt and reach the host culture without losing your morals. We're not here to lose that, okay? Remember this verse. There is neither Jew. Can we say it together? Let's say it together, please. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither slave nor free. There is neither male nor female. We are all one in Christ Jesus. Culture can be a way to learn about each other, not dividing. We want to build bridges, not barriers. Remember that. Bridges connect, not divide. Please, I'm asking it as we conclude right now. Please, I'm begging you, never, ever make any group in the church feel rejected. Please, I'm going to say it again. Never, ever make any group in the church feel rejected. When you see someone different than you, learn about their behaviors, their ways, their handshakes, their food, their situations, sports and art and whatever. Learn about it. Celebrate it. Adapt to the good parts of it. Use culture to win culture. Embrace the people. Build bridges. But at the end, we're responsible for these 3 things. Please, we don't want to reject anybody. I know how it feels to be rejected. When I came to church that time in the beginning, I was rejected. I was different. I was coming from university, didn't know anything. Because I didn't know anything, people made me feel bad. Don't make anybody feel bad. Celebrate, talk to them, walk with them, connect with them. And we pray that we can win. Save some, as St. Paul said. Save some. The worst feeling I'm sure you've ever had in your life is feeling rejected. That's what we may be doing to people who want to come to God. We have a better alternative. Let's pray that we can save some. Glory be to God forever. Amen.